Today we will discuss what are the outcomes of Davos 2026. What actually happened at World Economic Forum? Every January, the world's most powerful political and economic leaders gather in Davos to discuss cooperation, growth, and the future of the global economy. For decades, Davos symbolized optimism, a belief that globalization and the free trade would lift everyone. But Davos 2026 sent a very different message. This year was not about optimism, it was about survival, power, and control. The atmosphere was tense. Leaders spoke less about expanding global markets and more about economic security. Wars in Ukraine and Gaza, Red Sea shipping disruptions, rising trade wars, and the race for artificial intelligence dominated discussions. The message was unmistakable. The era of globalization as we knew it is over. Trade, technology, and investment are no longer neutral tools. They are strategic assets and increasingly weapons. Governments are reshaping supply chains, prioritizing resilience over efficiency, and preparing for long-term economic confrontation. The world is fragmenting into rival economic blocs. The United States arrived in Davos with clarity and confidence. Washington made it clear that America is not abandoning globalization. It is rewriting the rules. China was rarely mentioned directly, but it was at the center of nearly every conversation. The new American doctrine is simple. Trade is welcome, but only if it serves US national security. Strategic advantage now matter more than economic efficiency. America's closest ally appeared increasingly uneasy. Publicly, EU leaders emphasized unity and shared values. Privately, frustration was clear. European officials are deeply concerned that US subsidies, especially under the Inflation Reduction Act, are pulling European companies and investment to America. From Europe's perspective, the US is practicing protectionism while still preaching free trade. European leaders spoke repeatedly about strategic autonomy and the need to protect their own industrial base. Trust remains, but it is thinner than before. The divide is even sharper on China. Washington wants rapidly reduce dependence on China and push toward decoupling. Europe prefers de-risking, limiting vulnerabilities without breaking economic ties completely. Countries like Germany and France fear that a sudden rupture with China would severely damage their economies. Security cooperation remains strong, particularly on Ukraine and NATO. But even here, tension exists. The US wants Europe to spend more on defense and rely less on American military power. Europe is increasing defense budgets, but Washington's patience is wearing thin. China used Davos to warn against economic weaponization and bloc politics, presenting itself as a stabilizing force. Few in the West were fully convinced, but trust in Beijing remained low. By the end of Davos 2026, one reality was clear. Free trade is fading, power politics is back. Economics is now inseparable from geopolitics. The world has entered an era of geoeconomics. The real question is no longer who believes in cooperation, but who controls supply chain, technology, energy, and capital. The new world order isn't coming. It's already here.